many years ago when I did robots, my sort of robot professor said never ever use the model of the world, always use the real world.
So I could answer part of it, mostly from a research perspective. I don't think practically it's starting to be used yet, but synthetic data seems to be actually working quite well with deep networks, where you train a deep network on something like ImageNet, and then you use synthetic data with labels to train for some other task, and that actually generalizes pretty well to real data. There's a paper from my colleagues which did this, and they trained something in Unreal Engine with blocks falling, and then they tried to see if that would actually hold up to real blocks falling in the real world, and it actually held up pretty well. That's the only data point I can do.
So did you try training pretty uniquely on the images you generated? Did you try that?
On the images.
So with gas, you generate a set of images. You try to train on that and see how it works with you.
I didn't, but someone else did, and it seems that it works okay, apparently.
Can I add to that, actually? So in my field for hand pose estimation, a lot of people use synthetic data. And one of the things that I find is that synthetic data, while it captures a lot of the global sense of what hands can do, you lose a lot of information regarding the noise characteristics of the camera, the variance of people. And what you can do is use real data to learn feature representations, so low-level information, and then use synthetic data to learn the more global context.
Yeah, I can also add that depending on the domains, for example, in text spotting, we use only synthetic data these days, and we get state-of-the-art results on real data, so we don't even bother collecting real data anymore. But that's a very specific setting. Having said that, you can, with a little bit of effort, generate very convincing instances of synthetic text with lots of quantum variations, shadows, noise, and whatnot. So at least in specific domains, I completely believe that you can throw away real data now already.
I think a number of people in some recent times have commented on the fact that some of the data sets that especially the academic data sets that we use to evaluate, show quite strong biases, hopefully increasingly lower biases than the older data sets. But are there steps we should be taking to try and avoid sort of data set bias and things like that creeping into the algorithm development, so we start going down paths of architecture and things like that, and be kind of reflecting the data sets we're using as opposed to the general problem itself.
Facebook should release their data sets, and free hardware. Maybe that's a solution. Just releasing huge data sets from these big tech companies. And this is probably going to happen at some point.
That's a good question. I mean, are we going to see from some of the large companies, do you think, releases of labeled data sets? Or is it too much of a commercial advantage?
Oh, it's not actually about commercial advantage. It's about respecting people's privacy.
Right.
But we are trying to release some synthetic data sets that we built so what you said is actually very true in, for example, visual question answering, where there was a couple of data sets that were released, and to answer most of the questions, you don't even need to use the visual part or the question part. And these kind of biases, I think, need to be removed early by people who are building the data set. But it's also hard to disentangle this in all factors of variation. The best we can do is iterate to better data sets. In terms of synthetic data sets, you can just build a procedural model that generates the data set. I don't know. I personally want to see the same as what you see, which is remove as many biases from the data set as possible.
There's a tendency with sort of standard data sets for the objects of interest to be in the middle, and real images do not have that property. Also, we heard how the last dog images. You see, no, image.
It's especially true, I mean, on videos. Video data sets are super small, I mean, in the public, but the dimensionality is like so much higher. So you would need like tens of millions of examples of stuff. So, I mean, would you use it? Like, I mean, do you have the capability in universities and like in a research setup to actually use data sets that are like tens of millions of examples?
Yes.
You know, like, yeah. I mean, because I know some people like GPUs, like storage capacity, like, you know. So does it make sense?
I think another side of it was whether is that the path to is it the path to go then? Will we need some hybrid approach, like the rate at which we can learn things and the rate at which the data set increases? Like, is it really practical to learn, especially when you go to say video? Is it practical to learn all the properties? Or something just from data can be really movable other priors, or is it actually going to be a race that we can't ever quite?
Yeah, it is very useful. I mean, if you try to apply just let's say an ImageNet model, train model on videos, and like you're going to train kind of like the last layer, for example, and even like the last frequency layer or whatever, it's going to perform very poorly compared to like a fully trained guy on the web, for example. So yeah, it makes sense.
So I think it probably also depends on the application. So if we had a dog here, we ask him about the database, he probably say it's fine. If we have a cat, we say it's unbalanced, it's unfair, and discrimination. But the truth is, I mean, this leads me to a more generic question, like, how do we actually, did we just move to statistical evaluation of our algorithms, in the sense that we take some data, we train it, performs 99.9%, and we say, fine, this is what we can do, it's very good. But now what happens if we now find one example where it did not perform, we retrain it, we have a different algorithm. Do we now start testing from the beginning? Because it is a different algorithm. We have not removed the bug, like old days, we fix an index or something. We retrain it, and so all the testing that we perform up to this point could be invalid. It's essentially a different system, which might be okay for image labeling, but if it's a medical application, it could be tricky. So yes, so how do we actually evaluate the reliability and the confidence and the performance, and how do we know how close we are from the limits? I think that these questions are answered.
Any answers to that, or just, it's a question we all struggle with, maybe.
Yes.
Any other questions about the direction of travel in this field? No? Okay.
Perhaps make a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a big need for algorithms that extend small amounts of labeled data to allow large amounts of unlabeled data to be used. I think that's a very important area. I don't know if anybody thinks it's already solved.
I think we have a question.
Yeah, can I change tack a little bit? So we've seen neural networks have got more complex over the last few years. It seems to be a general trend. Is that likely to continue, or as they get more complex, they'll get slower to run, more computation intensive, which is fine as computers get better and better. But is there going to be an opposite trend to try and simplify it back down, having maybe smaller ones that should be the same performance?
Well, partial answer to that is that they may become more complex in some sense, but they don't necessarily become bigger or slower. For example, ResNet is about the same speed as BGVD and has about the same number of parameters, but it has 10 times the depth.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of a slightly smarter design where you actually spend your computational effort. So it doesn't need to be slower, even if it